years and 7 bad years, they'd have food. And Pharaoh put him over everything. He had no problem because he had on the job experience. He had gotten it. And the thing I'd like to ask some of you that are going through, and maybe we all are going through, what you think the next thing you got to go through before you end up in the palace? Oh, some of y'all thought y'all was already in it? You thought you was already in the palace? But there are things that God do in his preparation. And so if we look at Joseph in the palace, now full circle in chapter 42, his brother come to buy food. He know them, but they don't know him. Isn't it strange that sometimes you know the folks that did you wrong, but they don't know you? I never will forget that person that I prayed for. They was going to get, the whole family was going to get some years in prison. I had just started the church maybe 2 years. They came to me on a Saturday evening in my office, and they was on their knees, and I prayed for them that the Lord will spare them from going to prison. But, Ella Berry, I could not, the devil didn't want me to get it out of my mind, that it was those same people that when I was with Ella Tillman and I was selling, wasn't selling the barbecue, I was delivering it. And when I got there, this was the same man. I had an extra dinner. And he said, I want a dinner. And the guy said, well, Reb, come back. He said, oh, you're a preacher? He said, I know you're a preacher. I never would have bought that dinner from you. I said, you don't have to buy it. He said, oh, no, I'll take it. But now I'm thinking, here this man is here in my office now on his knees 7 years later and asking me to pray for him not to go to prison. And he said if he had known I was a preacher, he never would have bought that dinner. You know, some things you just don't forget like that, especially when the people call you back in a different position. Now he's hurt now. Now he wants the preacher that he didn't want to buy a $5 dinner for him to pray for him. And he didn't go to prison, nor did the adult with him, his mother didn't go. All the rest of them went to prison. And he didn't go. And that's the truth. So in chapter 43, at the end of 42, Joseph put things in their meal bag, didn't take their money, put the money back, and he held Levi over. But he interrogated them to find out how his father was doing, how his baby brother was doing, etc. And he found out his father, Jacob, was still living. He found out that Benjamin was living. And he wanted to see them, but it wasn't time for him to reveal himself. So in chapter 43, at the end of chapter 42, verse 38 says, but he said, my son shall not go, because he told him he was not going to let him go until he bring Benjamin. He said, my son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he's left alone. If mischief befall him by the way in which ye go, then shall ye bring down my gray hair, and sorrow to the grave. So Jacob said he couldn't go. But it's something about, sometimes you say things, but time tells the story. Verse 43, chapter 43, and the famine was sore in the land. And it came to pass when they had eaten up the corn, which they had brought out of Egypt, their father said unto them, go again, buy us a little food. And Judah spake unto him, saying, the man did solemnly protest unto us, ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. If thou wilt send our brother with us, we will go down and buy thee food. But See, now you're putting Jacob's on the spot now. So if our brother go, we'll go down and we'll buy some food. But in other words, what he was telling him, you don't know what we went through. You wasn't there. You don't know how that man looked at us. All the questions he asked us, the thing that he said about us. But if thou wilt not send him, we will not go down. For the man said unto us, ye shall not see my face, except your brother be with you. So, Joseph was holding back tears, holding back remorse, holding back punishment. He wanted to see just how tough they still were. Because when he was there, they were really rough. They was like gangsters. And Israel said, this is Jacob now, and Israel said, wherefore shall ye so ill with me? Why are you speaking this way to me? As to tell the man whether ye had yet a lad. Why did you tell him you had another lad? Now, notice they're talking to their father now. And they said, this man asked us straightly of our state and our kindred, saying, is your father yet alive? Have you another brother? And we told him according to the tenor of these words. Could we certainly know that he would say, bring your brother on down? And Judah said unto Israel his father, send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and thou, and also our little one. I'll bring him back. So Judah took charge of what his name says. Because the name Judah means what? Praise, but it also means send Judah first. When the tabernacle was surrounding the tents, Judah was at the front gate, the tribe of Judah. And if there was a war, the tribe of Judah went first. And so when there is trouble, praise ought to go first. And so Judah took it on his own to be the guarantor to Jacob, or to Israel now, that he would take Benjamin and bring him back. And Jacob was questioning them now, interrogating them. Why did you tell him that I was alive? Why did you tell him you had another brother? Why did you run your mouth off like that? Well, he said, the man asked us, and he straightly asked us and charged us, and we did not lie to him. Verse 10, for except we, verse 9, okay, I will be surety for him, I'll be the guarantee for him, of my hands. Shalt thou require him, if I bring him not unto thee, and set him before thee, then let me bear the blame forever, and not you. Let me bear it forever. For except we have lingered, surely now we have returned this second time. And their father Israel said unto them, if it must be so now, do. Take of the best fruit in the land, in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm, a little honey, spice, myrrh, nut, and almonds. And take double money in your hands, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks, carry it again in your hand. Peradventure it was an oversight. Now, here's the thing that you have to notice in this. It was a famine in the land. But there are things that can still grow in a famine. Almond trees. Matter of fact, give you a good example. It could be, the sun could be ever so hot, all the plants could be burned up, but in the desert, cactus are growing. And cactus hold the water in. And so but corn was not grown because corn takes a lot of the moisture out of the ground to do it. Wheat do the same thing. And so Isaac said, let's send him some of the things that we have. And maybe, just maybe, he will allow us to get the corn, and we'll have favor. Now, what do you see? Just anybody tell me, what do you see Jacob trying to do that you can't do?
Trying to butter him up.
Butter him up? Anybody else? Buy favor. You can't buy favor. Favor is unmerited. So Jacob was trying to buy favor by saying, we will give him this or take him that, and maybe he will, appreciate this. Verse 12, and take double money in your bag. I read that. 13, take also your brother and arise, go again unto the man. And God Almighty give your mercy before the man, that he may send away your other brother, Benjamin. That's who it was, not Benjamin. He held on to Levi. And Benjamin, that's the only one. And I will bereave of my children, and I am as I am bereaved. In other words, I don't want to cry anymore. I don't want to be worried about you all, what you have to do anymore. I want you to go, and I want you to come back. And this is the second trip. Verse 15 starts the second trip. And the very brother that they hated, and sold into slavery, is now inviting them. And look at this, watch this, to get back there, verse 14. Well, did I read God Almighty? Yeah. Okay, I wanted to explain that. God Almighty is a Hebrew word, says what? El Shaddai, the God that is more than enough. So Israel said, El Shaddai, the God that is more than enough, peradventure, he'll bring you back. And then in verse 15, and the men took the presents, and they took double money in their hands. And Benjamin and rose up, and went down to Egypt, and stood before Joseph. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said unto his ruler of his house, bring these men home, and slay, and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon. And the man did as Joseph bade. And the man brought the men into Joseph's house. And the men were afraid, because they were brought unto Joseph's house. And they said, because of the money that was returned in our sacks at the first time as we brought us, that he may seek occasion against us and fall upon us and take us for bondsmen and our asses. Now, they was only thinking evil. Why did evil was going through their mind? Because they was evil. They had been evil. And most of the time when people think you're going to do stuff to them, it's because they've been doing stuff to somebody else. If they hadn't been doing stuff to other folk they wouldn't even think about, you would do that to them. They would say, oh, no, everything going to be all right. And that's why sometimes when you are brought up in the church, and then you try to go out into the world, you're vulnerable. Yes. You're vulnerable because you haven't been out there with Tom, Dick, and Harry. Come on. And you thinking that everybody church folks. They ain't church folks. You think everybody in the church is church folk. They ain't church folks either. Okay, let me. they ain't either. Everybody's just saying, plead the blood. They will cut you and get some blood. So, all right, let me move on. Verse number 19. And they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house. Now watch this. Oh, sir, and said, sir, we came indeed down at the first time to buy food. And it came to pass, when we came to the end, that we opened our sacks, and behold, every man money was in the mouth of his sack, and our money in full weight, and we have brought it again in our hand. and other money have we brought down in our hand to buy food. We cannot tell who put our money in our sack. And he said, peace be to you. This is what the servant said. Peace be to you. Fear not. Your God and the God of your father have given you treasures in your sack. I have your money. And he brought Simeon out to them. Now, here's Joseph, have gone into Egypt that worshiped false god, and the servant that he had, an Ethiopian, was now worshiping Joseph God, telling the Hebrews that was there to have peace and don't be fearful, because I have your money and do not worry. Now, that shows you that Joseph's name had personified. And what was Joseph's name mean? Y'all forgot it already? Friendly. Friendly. And Joseph was friend to the people. Now he gained the respect of the Egyptian. Whereas that his servant telling, and the servant don't even know that they are his brothers, because Joseph had not revealed it yet, that they was his brother. But he told them to comfort their heart. And after telling that, look what happened in verse 24. Is the verse 23? 24. And the man brought the men unto Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet. And he gave their asses provision. So he fed their animals, along with letting them clean themselves up. And they made ready the present again against Joseph came at noon. For they heard that they should eat bread there. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the present, which was in their hands, into the house, and bowed themselves to him to the earth. And they said, you think, remember in the dream, you think we gonna bow down to you? But they bowed themselves to him. And he asked them of their welfare and said, is your father well, the old man of whom ye spake? Is he yet alive? And they answered, thou servant, thy father is in good health. He is yet alive. And they bowed down their head and made obeisance. Again, second time. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son. He said, is this your younger brother, of whom you spake unto me? And he said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. Now, he was almost about to give himself away. He said, God be gracious unto thee, my son. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother. And he sought where to sleep, and he entered into his chamber. He entered into what?
We sought there to weep.
To weep. And he entered into his chamber and wept there. He didn't want to cry in the open. Came down on him so hard. These people are bowing down to me. They're calling me Lord. I'm the same one that they sold to the Midianites and to the Israelites that bought me, and they don't even recognize me. But what you have to look at, now it's 32 years. He was 17 years old when they sold him. So 32 and 17 is 15 years apart. They didn't know what had happened to him. Certainly they didn't expect him to be in Pharaoh's second man. They probably thought that he was dead or was in slavery. But when people do you wrong, they never know what God is going to do. You may not know what God's going to do. But if you stay with God, you're headed to your blessed place. But getting to your blessed place, there's a lot of struggle sometimes. People that see you where you are now, some may envy you. Some may talk about you. But they don't know what you went through to get to where you are now. That's why it's not good to covet what folks have. Because are you willing to pay the price that they paid to have what they have? Verse 31. And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and set on bread. That's what that said? Oh, I see. My Bible got this little thing. Let me pull it up here some, because I don't have the light and stuff is looking a little different here. And they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat meat with him by themselves, because the Egyptian might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptian. And they set before him the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth, and the men's marvel one at another. So now, Joseph had his brothers to set according to their age. The Egyptian separated himself because it was wrong for them to eat with the Hebrews. But now, isn't it strange that when Jesus came, it was wrong for the Hebrews to go to Gentile, it was wrong for them to eat with Gentile, or wrong for a Gentile to come into their house. So you see how things changes. Then, verse 34, and he took and sent messages unto them for before him, but Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs, and they drank and was merry with him. Now, why do you think he gave Benjamin more?
See if they were still jealous.
Huh?
See if they were still jealous.
That was his. They come from the same mother.
Same mother, Rachel.
And he was the baby brother.
Yes.
And to see if he was still jealous. They were still jealous.
And he knew what they did to him. And he was wondering, had they been mean to Benjamin?
They changed.
Now, why do you think the brothers took care or did not do that to Benjamin?
Because of pain and
Jacob sheltered him. Jacob was going to make sure. And if you read this subliminal, Jacob really knew that his sons did something to Joseph. He just couldn't prove it. Yes.
It really stands out on me right here. And he said before them, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And they all marveled. Wouldn't that have blown your mind to say, how can he sit all this in our birthright righteous order when they don't even know us?
All right, there are some things that is written that is not there because they didn't feel it was necessary. Everything God don't tell us. He don't tell us that Joseph didn't ask who's the oldest, and they did it. But he just said that on the scriptures that's told us, he set them all in the order of their age.
Yes, but the brothers, that must have reflected upon the brothers.
Well, if you're scared, you don't think that way. You still living, and you're thinking that Joseph may kill you at any time. And so you don't be thinking about how did he know this or whatever. You're saying that if we can get out of here alive, that's what we want to do. We want to get out of here alive. And so the conversation was probably maybe he did do that, and maybe they might have had some suspicion. But they didn't know who Joseph was. Never would have thought that Joseph would have been the second person in charge. I'm sure that there are some of us here now that we may have some people that are not saved, and they never would have thought that we'd have been in the church. They never would have thought, my brother never thought I was going to be a preacher. I was naked to the baby in the family. They never thought I was going to be a preacher. I was the last one they thought was going to be a preacher. They tested me. Oh, God. All right, we're going to go to chapter 44, and then after that we take the question. Joseph's silver cup is missing. And he commanded the stewards of his house, saying, fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry. Put every man money in his pack, in the sack of mouth, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack mouth of the youngest, and his coin money. And he did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, and they said, and their asses, and when they were gone out of the city, and not yet far off, Joseph said unto his stewards, Up, follow after the men, and when thou doest overtake them, say unto them, Wherefore have ye rewarded evil for good? Is not this it in which my Lord drinketh? And whereby indeed the divinest ye have done evil in such doing. And he overtook them, and he spake unto them these same words. Now remember, Joseph put the words in his mouth. And they spake unto them the same word. Now, what do you see here that power that Joseph had? He had enough power, and they were so loyal to him that whatever he said, they did it. There was no talking back. So, well, what about whatever he said? That's what they did. So, and he overtook him, and he spake unto them these same words. And they said unto him, Wherefore says my Lord these words? God forbid that thou servant should do according to this thing. Behold, the money which we found in our sack's mouth, we brought again into thee. In the land of the Canaan. How then should we steal out of thou Lord's house silver or gold? With whomsoever of the servant it is found, both let him die, and we also will be made Lord bondmen. That's how sure they didn't do it. Said, whoever is found on, let him die, and we'll be made slave. And he said, Now also let it be according unto your words. He which whom it is found shall be my servant, and ye shall be blameless. Then they speedily took down every man his sack to the ground, and they opened every man his sack. And he searched and began at the elders and left at the youngest. And the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they rent their clothes and laden every man his ass and returned to the city. And Judah his brother came to Joseph's house, for he was yet there, and they fell before him on the ground. And Joseph said unto them, What deed is this that ye have done? Wot ye not? Did you not know that such a man as I can certainly divine? In other words, I can discern what you've done. Well, and Judah said, What shall we say unto my Lord? And what shall we speak? Of how shall we clear ourselves? God hath found out the iniquity. Thou servant, behold, we are my Lord's servant, both we and he also with whom the cup is found. We humble ourselves. We're your servants. We'll do whatever you ask us to do. Here it go. And he said, Then Judah came. Let me go back to verse 19, right? 18. Then Judah came near. 17. And he said, God forbid that I should do so. But the man in whom hand the cup is found, he shall be my servant. And as for you, get ye up in peace unto your father. Then Judah came near and said unto him, O my Lord, let my servant, I pray thee, speak a word in my Lord's ear, and let not thine anger burn against thy servant, for thou art even as Pharaoh. My Lord asked his servant, saying, Have ye father or mother? And we said unto my Lord, We have a father, an old man, and a child of his old age, a little one, and his brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother. And his father loveth him. And thou sayest unto thy servant, bring him down unto me, that I may set mine eyes upon him. And we said unto my Lord, the lad cannot leave his father, for if he should leave his father, as his father would die. And thou shalt say unto thy servants, except your younger brother come down with you, ye shall see me, my face, no more. And it came to pass, when he came up into thy servant, my father told him the words of my Lord. And our father said, go again and buy a little food. And we said, we cannot go down if our younger brother be not with us. Then will we go down. For we might not see the man's face, except the younger brother be with us. They're rehearsing. They are now saying everything that their father told them. And our servant father said unto us, ye know that my wife bare 2 sons, and the one went out from me, and I said, surely he is torn in pieces, and I saw him not since. And if you take this also from me, and mischief befall him, ye shall bring down my gray hair with sorrow to my grave. Now therefore, when I come to thou servant my father, and the lad be not with us, seeing that his life is bound up in the lad's life, it shall come to pass, when he seeth that the lad is not with us, that he will die. And thou servant shall bring down the gray hair of thou servant our father, and sorrow to the ground. For thou servant became surety. This is what Judah is telling him. I guaranteed for the lad unto my father, saying, if I bring him not unto thee, then I shall bear the blame to my father forever. Now therefore I pray thee, let thou servant abide instead of the lad, a bondman to my Lord, and let the lad go up with his brethren. For how shall I go up to my father's, and the lad be not with me, lest peradventure I see the evil that shall come on my father. So this whole chapter was a confession. A confession. Since we have a little time and want to get into the good, we're just going to read a portion of what happened. We may be able to cover it. There's only 28 verses. And Joseph could not refrain himself before all of them that stood by him, and cried, causing every man to go out from me. Cause every man to go out from me. And there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brothers. Can you, in your sanctified mind, picture the hardship, the look on Joseph's face, the look on his brother's face, when Joseph is now ready to tell them? Can you imagine in their mind that they replay putting him in the pit? Can they replay saying, sell him? Can they look again in their mind and replay they killed an animal, put blood on the animal, on the coat, and showed it to their father, replaying the lies that they had told? Do you understand? In our lives, that's why we ought to live every day like it's our last day. Everything that you've done wrong to someone, God will forgive you, but some of those things are going to come up again. And sometimes when they come up again, they're coming up against you. The story was told, and he used to tell a story in Arkansas about the farmer that had the men to plant cotton in the field. And he told them to plant